Department of Justice says yes, the police department responsible for the death of Breonna Taylor, they're racist as hell. They call black people monkeys. All kind of things have been uncovered. Let me put up a graphic of the woman who was killed unnecessarily, obviously, by the Louisville Police Department. Let's go to Jefferson County. An investigation conducted by the DOJ Civil Rights Division found that the Metro Police Department and the Jefferson County Metro government engaged in a pattern of unconstitutional behavior by routinely using excessive force, number one. Number two, conducting searches based on invalid warrants. And number three, unlawfully discriminating against black people in enforcement activities. The review also found that police violated the rights of those engaged in protected speech critical of policing, and that some officers used racial slurs about black citizens. The city has reached an agreement in principle to resolve the constitutional violations found by federal investigators, the Justice Department said. Let's put up Ms. Taylor's picture again to remind you of why we even have this investigation. The investigation only comes in the aftermath of the March 2020 botched police raid that led to the death of Breonna Taylor. In August, 4 officers were federally charged in connection to her death. DOJ's pattern and practice investigation was not a criminal probe, but rather looked at broader systemic issues in the department. One LMPD leader telling federal investigators Breonna Taylor was a symptom of problems that we have had for years. Did you hear that? She's a symptom of problems we have had for years. Understand the dynamic of culture here. What that official has said is that the expression you see is not because of a few bad apples. The expression you see, the criminal charges with these officers do not stop with these officers. Here's the problem. You see, the report shows systemic connection between racism, policy, implementation, and the people involved. Well, all of them should be fired at the very least. Some should be arrested at the most. There's more. The report said the police officers' actions do not happen in a vacuum, and noted that segregation, poverty, and violence affected policing in the racially segregated city. The police department, which is 81% white, was charged with patrolling neighborhoods that were predominantly black. The report also said police have difficult jobs and lack support and resources to prevent this kind of misconduct. For years, it says, LMPD has practiced an aggressive style of policing that it deploys selectively, especially against black people, but also against vulnerable people throughout the city. The report says, LMPD cites people for minor offenses like wide turns and broken taillights, while serious crimes like sexual assault and homicide go unsolved. There's a report that shows for the majority of cities, roughly 80 to 90% of police work is actually traffic-based. And the other percent that may exist for the more dangerous crimes, the vast majority of those crimes are not even solved. So if they would focus on the actual crimes that create a dysfunction in life or society, maybe they would have a better chance of solving them. Furthermore, some officers have videotaped themselves throwing drinks at pedestrians from their cars. Once again, that's illegal. Insulted people with disabilities, unethical and immoral, and called black people monkeys, animal, and boy, room and grounds for termination. This conduct erodes community trust and the unlawful practices of the LMPD and the Metro undermine public safety. Unlawful action, it says. What does that mean? Does that mean illegal? Yes, unlawful means illegal. When is somebody going to jail? Let's put it up. The mayor and the interim chief had a press conference, and they said they are taking action to reform and improve how our police department operates. Real simple here. The people in the report released their names and what they did. That's number one. Number two, make sure that those who engaged in criminal conduct get a referral directly to the DA's office. And number three, let the community know that you are serious about prosecuting those who you found to be in criminal action while being a cop. That's it. 1, 2, 3. All right, thoughts here.
Yeah, this investigation is so important because, again, we're having light shined on a part of society that tends to operate within the shadows. For most of us, the only interactions that we have with cops is maybe when they pull us over while driving. And for most of us, those interactions are irritating at worst. But for those who see a much different side of cops, it can go from irritating to deadly real quick. And we've seen that happen way too many times. We can sit on this show and talk about racism within police forces all day, but people will still deny any evidence presented because I think people really want to believe that the cops are there to serve and protect. They want to feel safer when they're around, and they want to believe that if there's trouble, they can call someone to help them. But this report and the reality of what is really going on within police departments is hard to deny. I'm sure people still will, but it's pretty damning.
Yeah,